Hey guys, it's me, Jane Bond, and welcome to another episode of Unpack Your Life. And today I have a special guest on the show. And I have to tell you guys, before we even get started, while I was reading up on Juliet, I had this sensation, this kind of feeling, and it was very deep. It felt a little saucy, if I want to say the right words. I don't want to tell you that it wasn't. It was very sensual and saucy. And I
Mhm.
shared with her off camera that that's how I felt, and I wanted to know if other people felt that way, and has she been told that? And she, of course, said yes. So today we have Juliet Karaman on the show, and Juliet is a transformational coach, and she has a program called Touch Base with Your Truest Self, which I find very interesting because we all want to go there. We all want to know who we really are because we get lost along the way sometimes. And that's why Unpack Your Life, is here today to share with you how you can get back on the track with touching base with your truest self, finding out who you really are, liberating yourself, and taking control of your agency. So, Juliet uses a transformational method that she teaches you to rebuild trust, deepen connections, and awaken pleasure through sensory. Of course, I felt that attunement and embodied practices. So I'll let Juliet get into this because she says, quote unquote, this isn't just about your physical connection, guys. It's about your emotional safety, your trust, and coming home to yourself. And of
Mhm.
course, that's what we want. Juliet, go ahead, share with us.
Jane, thank you for having me, and thank you for that beautiful introduction.
Well, that's how I felt. I felt very sensuous and awakened. You know, I
It's it's
I could
it's
feel it.
interesting, right? Because I really feel like I'm helping people awaken through touch. And that's not only through physical touch,
Right.
but that's the way that life touches us, the way that the sun hits our face and we're like, oh, enjoying it. The gratitude, right?
Absolutely,
The
yes.
way a puppy comes up and falls all over the place and you just can't help but your heart opens. But also
Unconditional.
unconditional love, right? But everything, and also, of course, it really does mean the physical touch that lands. I work with a lot of couples who haven't had sex in years, and I
Interesting.
specialize in helping women who've had sexual trauma rewrite their story with it because I'm one of these that had sexual trauma and that got buried for years because my psyche
Wow.
just wasn't strong enough. And
Well, I would love for you to unpack that with us today because a lot of people have sexual trauma. It doesn't have to be to the one extreme to the other, but all things in between that. So I would love to
completely.
hear you talk about that more.
And what I'd love to say is trauma. You hear trauma so much trauma, trauma, trauma. So, the way that I define trauma is anything that happened too quick, too rapid, too soon for your psyche or body to handle it. So, you might have the same experience as I, but you know, you're completely fine. And something
Right.
is keeping me looping in actually remembering it or just being frightened or something like that. And so trauma doesn't have to be a big thing. It could be, if we're talking about sexual trauma, it could be the way that someone just looked at you and it felt really uncomfortable. And as kids, we're really very honed into this. We can read energy, we can feel energy. And when Uncle Bob came and Mommy said, "Go and give him a kiss," and you're like, "Oh, I didn't want to give him a hug," and
Right.
she still pushed. It's like, oh, you as a little one, you actually have that radar. You know that, right?
Yeah, you feel uncomfortable, of
You
course.
feel uncomfortable, and I know as a mother of four, they're young adults now, but yeah, I've definitely gone said, it's come on, just give them a hug. But now looking back on it, I'm like, oh, they actually knew, and I overrode their system. So trauma doesn't have to be a big thing. It could be that someone just touched you somewhere that you didn't like,
Right.
maybe held your arm a little bit too long. But all of this can load into the body. And that's where it just then can create disease, discomfort. And a lot of times people don't actually recognize that it's still in them or it's still affecting them. And they come to me after 15 years, 20 years of being married saying, we don't have intimacy. And
Wow.
we almost always can follow it back that it was
Some trigger. Yeah.
some kind of trigger, some kind of event where something happened too fast, too soon. They weren't ready for it.
Do you think they connected to having anxiety? Because, when you start talking about anxiety and stating that you have anxiety, there's triggers that come before that. And I
Mhm.
think if you own that anxiety as opposed to touching base with yourself, that could be a huge trigger for you. And you can only fall backwards emotionally and physically.
I think it's really start becoming aware of your patterns, right? For me, I keep saying to everyone, awareness truly, truly is the first step towards self-love. Awareness of anything, awareness of a trigger coming up, awareness if, say, your partner's coming behind you and all of a sudden you notice that you freeze a little bit, your body freezes, or you try
Yeah, I
to
hear that.
busy
I hear
yourself.
that.
And you just kind of think, oh, well, this is just what happens in marriages. After 15 years, that's just what happens. But then if
Right.
we actually pinpoint it a little bit or unpeel the onion layer a little bit more,
Right.
we can almost always find out a moment that was a bit too quick. And to create
Okay.
safety back into the body again. And that's everything, right? It's all about safety. We want safety in our lives with everything, but especially when it comes to
Yeah,
intimacy. Yeah.
definitely I agree with that because that could be very traumatic if something's done during the course of intimacy
Hmm.
that triggers something you never even spoke about or you didn't share with your partner. And now, here it is. And
Yeah.
you try to avoid it for years.
You avoid it, and sometimes what happens is just like the body just grips, start contracting, and
Right.
you notice it especially about the hips, and sometimes people actually, penetration is really uncomfortable because of some tightening, and they're like, something's wrong with me, and it's like, no, let's slow everything down.
Right.
So one of the things that I teach my clients, and they use this, I'm a hypnotherapist and EMDR therapist as well. So my clients use this worldwide for fear, for anxiety, for getting back into their body is actually the physical anchor, the kinesthetic anchor called touch base. So you put your thumb and your pointer finger together really slowly,
Okay.
even slower. Yeah. Yeah, and go all the way down until they just touch.
Okay.
And then just take a breath and notice where you might be clenching your body and just let it go. And only focus on those two fingers and start rubbing them together ever so slowly so you can feel every single finger ridge.
Oh
Go
yeah.
even slower. It's really uncomfortable sometimes to go this slow and to put that much attention on your fingers.
But you definitely, I've never thought about feeling the ridges of my
Uh-huh.
fingerprint, but I get what you're saying. And I feel the sensation going down, of course.
Completely. And
Hmm.
then now, just if you can just know that you are safe, there's no tiger, there's no animal chasing you. And then every time that you touch your fingers together like this, that can create this new neural pathway in your brain that you are safe and your nervous system starts to regulate. You're not no longer in fight or flight.
Yes.
And I get people to do this twice a day, 3 times a day. You all have 90 seconds. Yeah, 3 times a day, 90 seconds. Do this. And the more that you do this, if you do this for 31 days, 90 days, then when you come to a restaurant and you get a little bit anxious, you don't even have to
Yes.
rub them, you just have to tap them because it's
Wow.
also it's a meridian point. It's one of the points that we use for tapping as well. When someone cuts in front of you in traffic and you want to like scream at him, you're like, you wanker.
You bring it all the way back down by
You just
touching.
Could you just touch base for a minute and bring it back down?
Don't go
We have
here. Go here.
anxiety, right? Anxiety about spiders, about flying. People do this during their flight when they're really terrified of flying. And I've taught them this, and they're like, oh my God, this is like my magic little touch
Wow.
basin signal.
But you know what? I mean, when you're doing it and you're actually touching, the sensation goes through the body. Is that
Completely.
is that the technique you use? You call it somatic neurological or somatic
Yeah,
neurology?
so this is all using the somatics, and also this is a kinesthetic anchor. So it's something that you can feel, a somatic anchor. And then plus what I like is like the squeeziness of it. So if you are a little bit stressed and you're at the dentist, I used this the other day at the dentist because I didn't want to have a shot. I didn't want to get numbed. I'm like, no, just do it without. And he looked at me and said, I haven't done this in 20 years. I'm like, I know, but I hate getting the shot. So can you just do this? I had my wisdom tooth pulled without it. And he looked at me afterwards. He said, I didn't know that actually we didn't give you anesthesia because you were just so calm. All I could see was your
Wow.
finger. I'm like, yeah,
Wow. Interesting. That's very interesting. Because me, I would be like, no, anesthesia here, please. I don't even know if I would trust it for myself because I'm so afraid of that. You know, anything that any orifice you have to go through, I have anxiety for. So that's really
this
interesting.
helps for anxiety. So use this a few times a day and see what it's like after 30 days. I mean, yeah, you can probably spare, 2 minutes, 3 minutes a day doing that.
Absolutely. It's kind of like a meditation. You
Completely.
know, when you start meditation, you can only do meditation. I know for me, I could only do it for a few minutes at a time and build on. You know, I had to build on top of that each day and really take my time to understand what I was doing as far as the meditation was concerned. So doing this and getting in tuned into it with your body and touching, I mean, just that little 30-second touch, I could feel the sensation through my body. So I definitely understand that. I think that's amazing. So let me ask you this. I know we're talking about transformation and sensation and, sensualization and all of those good things. How did you come about this? What made you go in this direction? What was the hardest thing you had to unpack to become this person today?
Oh, there are quite a few hard bits in my life. There's been some beautiful things, and there's also been quite a bit of hard
And
bits.
unpacking
So
doesn't
I'm a
mean
mom.
unpacking could mean, that you
No, no,
liberated
it's
something. How did
oh,
you
I
get?
liberated. I liberated so much in every part of my life. So I had
Wow.
4 kids in under 3 years' time with one husband, and then at one point, I know, right? And then at one
Right.
point, we got divorced. We're very good friends still. We brought up our kids together, so that's actually one thing that I'm
That's
really
wonderful.
proud of,
Yes.
the way that we have been. And two of my children are dyslexic, so I went on the whole psychology train, trying to help them. I used to teach kids on the spectrum, especially boys in boarding school, autism and Tourette's and everything, and really help them with social cues,
Mm.
thinking that I'd be able to help my own children. And they're like, yeah, mommy, no. But that really was my start into psychology, into personal development. And then after my divorce, I got together with a man with 3 daughters. And between the two of us, we had 7 children, 7 different
Wow.
schools, seven
Brady
different
Bunch.
bedrooms. We created the house together. I could have run an army. And my body at one point said, hey, stop. You're taking care of everyone else except for yourself. So I remember being on Portobello Road. If anyone's watched Notting Hill, the movie, yeah,
Of
you will
course.
know that road with all the market stalls on it. And all of a sudden, I woke up like I was on the floor. My Hermes bag is like spilled open with stuff everywhere. And the flower lady is like, "Hey, love, are you okay?" And I'm like, "What happened?" She's like, "You passed out."
Wow. Okay.
So, so fast forward, I spent 9 months in and out of hospital. They implanted a heart monitor. They did lots of brain scans, and I couldn't walk more than about 2 or 3 feet unaided before I'd faint. So I remember going down the stairs at one point, and all the kids were at school. My then partner was at work, and I fell down the stairs and I hit this big Chinese antique vase. And I just remember waking up and in a pool of blood, and there was this metallic taste in my mouth. And I thought, oh my God, this is it. This is the
Wow.
end. And I looked at, I'd cut my wrist on a piece of porcelain. And that was the moment. It's like, no, I'm not done here.
Oh
So,
no. No.
right? But you know, when you really that was really a come to Jesus moment. It's like, oh, okay, this cannot go on this way.
Do you think everything that was going on in your life, being the yes lady, the pleaser to everyone and everything, and always being there, contributed to your physical ailment at the time? You were just done. Something
Absolutely,
in you
yeah,
manifested pain that you had no idea what it could be or why it was there.
yeah. Doctors didn't know what it was for 9 months. They put grommets in, all kinds of things.
Wow.
And it was only after that relationship ended. And honestly, I'm so grateful for that. You know, beautiful man, beautiful children, and we all had our roles to play, right? I was the overgiver and trying to control, well, control, thinking that I would know what's best
Over
for
them,
everyone and creating this
completely.
beautiful house for everyone, but
Right.
really not taking care of what was happening here. So,
I
so much
understand
gratitude for
completely,
that period.
which is interesting. I mean, before I totally decided to unpack my life and make moves and liberate myself, take control of my own agency and put it out there to where I saw fit on my own terms. I was physically getting sick, and I didn't know why I
Hmm.
was physically getting sick. I went to have blood work. They said I was fine, but I had this ongoing pain on my left side underneath my rib cage, and then on my right
Yeah.
side down below my rib cage. And I didn't understand why was this happening. I'm physically completely fit. I'm working out every single day. I'm taking my vitamins. I'm running. I'm doing everything right. Why am I sick?
Hmm.
It was
Hmm.
because my heart and everything else was sick, and I didn't realize
Yeah.
it. And it wasn't because someone was doing something to me bad, or it was just I was not fulfilled and I was not happy, and I had to figure out why.
Hmm.
So I had to unpack, and I unfortunately,
Unpacking is a big thing, right?
yeah, I unpacked all at once as opposed to releasing that energy slowly. And before that it was the pandemic, so I stuck in life right there. I
Hmm.
sat in my own mess for the next three, four
Beautiful. It's courageous.
But you know what? Even though I was showing up as a powerful female, looking, the part, saying yes, getting the deals done, crossing, dotting the I's and crossing the T's, I was still very, um, I lacked so much joy and so much peace. And also, I
Mm.
realized that by protecting what I thought I should have protected, it actually disconnected me from the people that needed to see my light. And then I had to
Hmm.
stop, pause, of course, and ask myself, was what I was carrying, which was so damn heavy, and was it mine to carry, Juliet?
Right?
Was it allowing me to grow, or was it keeping me hostage? And it was damn sure keeping me hostage. And I had to figure out, how can I break free of that? And I was strong enough,
Hmm.
thank God, and I had to go through, deal with my own principles and everything, and my own guilt, my own however I was going to get through this, and shame, and I got through it, and I came out owning my own agency, being able to handle things. The podcast has come out in reference to that, and I feel like I need to help other women own they're unpacking, because it's not a good thing
Completely.
that way. Because, like you
And
said, you
that's
do.
it, right? Because you probably didn't really know that you had standards, or you kept moving your boundaries and your
Yeah,
standards because you didn't have that much agency, or we've been conditioned into these patterns that, if we really
tradition.
think about it, is like, is it even ours? Is it like, oh, that was my grandmother, that was my mother speaking, that was my husband, my
That's,
this, my that? I'm like, this is actually not that little girl that was once very carefree and scrumptious and having
and can
fun.
I go back to her, please? I miss her.
Completely, right?
Oh, I found myself looking in the mirror going, "Oh my God, where are you? I miss
Uh-huh.
you. I need you. I need to
Yeah.
find out who you are or where you are. And I need to find out, this is not you. I need to peel this layer off of me because it's not serving me. These
And
chapters are not serving me."
and
And
I
that's,
would say, for your listeners who are listening now, when you get to that point when you're just kind of wondering, like, you're trotting on with life and ticking all the boxes, and yet it feels like you've kind of got blinders on, and it's like you're watching TV, but it's not high definition. It's
yeah.
kind of like a little bit blurry. Everything is okay, but it's just not very vibrant. And then all of
Right.
a sudden, when you do take a step back and come back to who you are, all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, life is so
Oh my
vibrant. And
God.
it's like there's almost too many sensations. It's very
Absolutely.
sensation full.
Absolutely. And you have all these different fears. You have fear of being too much, you have fear of being
Yeah.
not enough. And honestly, fear of starting over. I think
Uh-huh.
that's a huge fear for some women, but starting over is so liberating. You're performing a version that is not you.
Completely.
So
We step into
how do
these
you feel that?
identities.
Right.
Yeah. And we
And it's not
always, we
to
how many
step into
identities
that
do we have every day, right? I mean, when my daughters are here, my twin daughters, so I have the identity of a mother, of a partner, of the coach, of the podcast
God, yeah.
interviewer, guest. And it's just like all of these kind of are running the show, but then it's like, but they're not the totality of who I am, right? And I think that's just really beautiful for a woman, and especially women and men, obviously, also to understand that we have so many layers, and it's okay to bring out a few more, and that we don't have to keep a visor on and be very well protected
Right.
because of how we want to portray ourselves.
Or how people we feel as though people perceive us. I don't subscribe to, and I thought about this a little bit yesterday, and I said, did you or did you not subscribe to the what you put out there is what you get back? Well,
Hmm.
think about that. What I put out, or what I thought I was putting out, was genuinely me. And
Yeah,
then once I really started opening the can of worms, trying to figure out why you're not happy, what's happening here? You have everything. People are going to think you're crazy because you're doing this. It's not
yeah,
abuse. Nobody's hitting you in your head. Nobody's doing this. What is going on with you? And that was the whole
completely.
key. I had to get
Hmm.
in touch with me,
Yeah.
me. And I wanted
And
to
I
I
think,
wanted to smile, and I wanted to just, and now when people see me, they go, "Oh my God, you look like you're glowing. What's going on?"
can I have some of that, right? I think it's
Yes,
what I think it's this scene, is it from Harry Met Sally, when she's in the restaurant, she's going,
yes.
oh, 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 and everyone's like, yo, can we have some of that? And
We'll order
that's
that.
really what happens when you choose yourself. And if
Yes.
listeners are listening now and they're like, how do I even start? It's like, I would start with asking yourself one question, and tell me, what's one thing that had you smile today? And then
Oh,
write that
yeah.
down, or say it out into your phone. It's like, oh, this had me smile. Oh, how did that feel in your body when you smiled? It's like, oh, do you have like some sensations in your bubbling? What's one thing that you did really well? Because we're so focused on what went wrong. If you then go,
Absolutely.
what had you smile? What's one thing that I did really well? What's one thing I'm really proud of doing today? And I did this with my kids when my girls, my twins were stuck here for the pandemic for 7 weeks. I couldn't leave. So every day we do that. It's like, what went well today? What are you proud of? What's one quality that you love about yourself? So really to start building that self-trust and
Mhm.
that muscle of like, oh, I actually really like myself.
Oh, right. So, Julia, what do you teach, and what is maybe one technique besides, the touch I love, that you teach your people or your clients to actually reveal themselves and actually like themselves, and not look for approval but alignment.
Ah, there's so many things I teach, but I think one of the beautiful things that I teach is these communication and intimacy prompts. And I have a set of 5 decks of cards. And you can either do this yourself, and then it can just be a written exercise, or you speak it out loud, or you can do it with a partner. And it's called a dyad. So, dyad is Latin for the power of two. And it always starts with a prompt like, tell me. So tell me, what did you love about your childhood? So you would receive that and you're
Hmm.
like, oh, you'd say something back to me and
Right.
I would receive that. So we usually listen to butt in and tell you my opinion about it or to like, yes, I agree. But here the whole thing is about to be understood. The person, we don't have to like what they're telling us. We don't have to agree with it. But as long as we understand the communication, we can say, thank you. And what happens, we go back and forth like that. So then at first it's a little bit of like surface swimming, but then if you go back and forth with the same prompt the whole time, it just gets deeper and we excavate just another layer deeper. And I have couples do this that haven't had intimacy, haven't had sex for ages, and we take sex off the table completely. But I give them 3 prompts per week and they come back and they're like, oh my God, we've gotten so intimate, like, as in, we know each other so well now. Things that I didn't know that we both had. Like, tell me something that you've done that now, in hindsight, you think that you shouldn't have done, where you hurt someone. Yeah, I mean, they're quite intense questions, but like, tell me, who's broken your heart. And
Mm.
if you can bring out that communication to your partner or to whoever you're doing this with without getting judged and just being received with thank you,
Yes,
it's like you're shedding a layer.
absolutely. And I think some people probably, if they didn't have someone like you to help them come together, they're probably afraid to share because, of course, being judged, share with their
Mhm.
partner who hurt them, especially men. Men, they're so guarded because they think if they tell you something, you're going to weaponize it, use it against them at some given
And a
point.
lot of women do, let's be honest, right?
Absolutely. I have nothing against that at all with men. I'm just saying that's what happens. But
Yeah.
it's important to communicate, of course, with your
Hmm.
partner about how you're feeling. And I think it's up to whichever partner, always have the alpha and you have the submissive, and it depends on who's going to relinquish the information so you can become closer without being
And
judged.
I
Because
was
in
also,
tradition, we don't do that. Traditionally, that's not something we do.
no,
You
traditionally we don't do this. We don't
right.
really make time to do this. So I say plan an intimacy date. That doesn't mean sex. I'm saying intimacy. I'm not saying plan a
Yeah,
sex date.
it's totally
Plan
different
an
concepts, of
intimacy
course.
date. So plan 40 minutes, 15 minutes once a week. I would say don't do it in the evening because you're tired. So try a weekend morning when the kids are gone or whatever. Put your phones away and then start one of these communication things. Maybe you want to create a list. It's like, these are the things I used to love doing as a kid. And then you come together on your intimacy date, and you actually read each other's lists. You're like, oh my God, I didn't know that about you. Let's go kite surfing or whatever it is, right? So
Whatever
it's
it may
like
be.
reconnecting. And also, like, speak out. What are some of the visions that you see for you together? What are some of the visions for you yourself that you may be afraid of? Instead of always like, I have to get this job, this and that, it's like,
Oh,
I'm
definitely.
actually thinking about what would it be like to just sell the house? I live, yeah, live around, travel around the world for 2 years. And then very often the partner would be like, oh, it's like, can we just play? Can we play for the
Yes.
40
Can we
minutes?
just
And what would
relax?
happen? We don't have to do it, but can we play? Can we take finger paints and play with each other? Can we feed each other strawberries? Anything to just get out of the routine. Don't talk about kids, don't
Absolutely.
talk about work, don't be in front of devices. And just have
I
fun.
think people embrace discomfort as opposed to
Uh-huh.
feeling comfortable with whom they are or who their partners are because we're so busy judging each other because we're not always 100% sure. Like when I meet couples, um, I know a couple couples when I'm around them, I could just feel the love. And there's a
Yeah.
blue envy there. And I'm like, oh my God, like, does this really exist? And they say, "Oh, well,
Uh-huh.
Jane, we have our ups and downs, but we never forget, what this is about."
We're
And
one
I think
team. We're on the
that's
same team, right?
we're on the same team. We're rooting. Hopefully, you're on the same team.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. I think people run towards discomfort as opposed to, packing courage to have those conversations.
And the interesting thing is we run to discomfort because it's known.
Right.
The unknown is more scary. So to open myself up and to actually tell my partner, it's like, hey, when he approaches me and I don't want to have sex or something, goes, hey, this doesn't feel good. I don't want to do that. Normally
Right.
we just grit through. Or when he says something and I'm like, took it the wrong way. Yeah. We can very easily just like, meh,
Oh, yeah.
snarl
Back
back at
it
him, bitch
all the way
back at him.
in. Yeah.
Or completely like what I've done for a long time, I just walked away. And that had like an impact that he was like, what the hell have I done? And then like almost come back and like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm like, no, I actually just needed some time to process that because that hit some part of me where I just wanted to lash out at you. So the best thing for me was to take myself away.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it's not easy to do that. What's one thing you believe that society glorifies that is an absolute lie, you know?
Ah, gosh, so many. The
Well,
absolute lie that we should
yeah.
look like a certain thing and we
Mhm.
should all be a certain way. And then,
Right.
that marriage is maybe forever. I mean, I've tried everything under the horizon from monogamy to open to having several lovers to everything. And
Well, you ran the gamut, at least
everything
you
is doable.
have.
Everything is doable, and as long as you do everything with a lot of respect for others and
Right.
yourself with standards and boundaries, you'll be fine. But I think, like, like a lot of people say, like, always never go to bed angry. And although I agree with a lot of that, it's like,
Yeah.
don't turn your back on someone when you're angry, but just like, okay, so just have some energetic hygiene. When you've just had a fight, go outside, let it out into the air, ground yourself with your feet. When you're hot-headed, when you're angry, just recognize it's an emotion. Let myself feel it, and I don't have to blast it out at someone else.
Right.
All of these things, it's like we women are supposed to look a certain way. It's like,
Mm.
and the diet industry is rife. I used to be twice my size
Right.
and thought I was a beached whale for ages. And then I got really skinny and now I put on a bit. My sister passed away. My father, I helped my mother commit euthanasia. So, like, yeah, 7 years of I
A
put
lot.
some padding on
Well,
because
that's
that
a
kind
lot
of
to
just
unpack.
kept me safe from the world.
Yes.
Right. And that's it's the judgment that we have on each other. Is it like,
Mm,
would you like to be treated that way? So, and also talk how the self talk is.
that's
Really,
right.
would you treat someone the way that you talk to yourself? I have my partner who will just say, "Oh, wanker" to himself. I'm like, what you say to yourself actually really matters. That loads into your
Absolutely.
body. And
Absolutely.
this is all energetic stuff. You're going to get this back. So the more that you actually do, and I don't think that affirmations work only if you only use affirmations, but if you allow yourself to feel both sides, the good, the bad, everything, then we move through the emotions, because emotions are always the ones that can keep us really blocked.
I tell you, when I hear that second voice these days, I'm like, you are crazy and I'm feeling wonderful. Okay. So we're going to just shut you out and keep you at bay. And I know you're going to creep in every now and then, but I'm going to damn sure try my best to keep you at bay because the way I feel now, no one can come and, turn this around. I'm excited about life again. I'm just enjoying the energy of being free, like
And the
mentally.
beautiful thing is, there are so many systems you can use, so many methods. But one of
Yep.
my earliest coaching programs that I was on, they called it "Who's Driving the Bus?" And I
Oh,
just thought that was such a good one, because we've got all these like little Juliets, little Janes, baby, teenage, old ones. Like, okay, who's driving the bus today? It's like, hey, I see all of you, but you can't be driving. Get in the
exactly.
back.
Only one of us that can take the steering wheel where
And,
it's supposed to go. Yeah, no,
and
I
that's the
completely.
beautiful thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm. You have
sometimes it's
to.
like, okay, little Jane, what do you want to do? It's like, and then just listens, like, oh, I want to go for an ice lolly. I want ice cream, or I want to do
Trust
some
me, little
drawing.
Jane
It's like,
does that.
right, and give yourself some
Listen.
time from time to
Mhm.
time.
Absolutely. Because you have to, I don't know. People, it's just life is so different right now. Someone says, Jane, everything has changed. And I said, no, I think I have changed.
Hmm.
Everything hasn't changed. I've changed. So now I am here to tune everything to that because where I am now is a wonderful thing. I have unpacked. I understand what that means. I understand to pause and look at things
Yeah.
carefully. I understand not to say yes to everything. And I understand now
Uh-huh.
I realize when I show up, I'm showing up as me, the true Jane Bond. This is my true self. I'm not
Woohoo! Hello, Jane.
not studying myself. I'm not stopping what I want to say. Sometimes you say, "Oh no, you shouldn't say that," but no, why not say it? You want an answer, or you have to
Hmm.
stand up for yourself, or you want to be known. You're in the room, so
Completely.
why not stay
And
alive?
this
Be
is it, right? It's so important. And I think, yeah, I talk about touch base and the touch of life, and touch that lands. So I have this fun tool that I'm sure my team will send you, which is called the touchometer. And I was like, do we actually know if we're receiving the touch that lands? And that's spiritually, that's physically, that's everything. And I was like, oh, why don't I make it like a thermometer, but then I call it touchometer? And it's just been fun. It's got like a few questions in there, and then afterwards you get like this beautiful few steps on how to actually have physical touch with yourself that really
Mm,
lights you up. Then how do you talk to your partner about it, that you may want a different kind of touch? So they're like, and some people are like, oh, how do I even discuss it without it having the talk? So I give you all kinds of tools for that. Then I give you like a menu of how to do the different touches, how to go along with it. So there's loads of fun,
I think that's
easy
fantastic.
implementable steps there to really just start recognizing, are you having,
Hmm,
are you having touch that lands? Are you having the touch in life that lands for you?
right, and if not, why not find it?
Yeah.
And if self touch that you're missing, why not explore it? I think
Hmm.
that's a wonderful thing because sometimes, women, we're so prude sometimes. We're very prudish because of our traditions and what we've been taught.
Yeah.
But I think it's a
But this
wonderful
is this
thing
is even like I
to have
just
sex
teach like
touch.
on hands.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so PG. There's like it's we don't go anywhere else on the genitals or anything, but we just
Yeah.
like how can you even start touching your face?
But my
But
point is,
really taking the
even
time.
if it's not PG, we should still self-explore because we are female.
Absolutely.
We're basically the givers of life. So why not explore what we give and understand who we are in the physical touch with ourselves? Some women are afraid. You can't even,
Uh-huh.
let me just say it. Some women are too afraid to even masturbate. They don't even, you can't even talk
No.
to them about it. If you do,
Oh
that's a
my
whole,
God, what is it? Like
conversation.
the devil's doorknob or something? They took all the clitoris. I'm like, whoa, that's crazy.
You're women. You've lived half your, well, most of the women I know, they're over 50. You lived, half a century, and you still can't talk about being intimate with yourself or even talking about that with a friend. And maybe it's not prudish. It could be tradition too. We weren't brought up that way. We don't discuss intimate details about
It depends
yourself.
how you've been brought up, where you live, of course. And really,
I
that's a beautiful question to open up with your
Mhm.
girlfriends, even when you're at a dinner, saying, "Hey, tell me, what does
You might
intimacy
learn
mean to
something.
you?" And
You might,
intimacy might mean holding hands for
yes,
someone, and for someone
yes,
else, maybe, but like, I'm actually being very intimate with you right now because I'm telling you what's happening on the inside. And another
absolutely.
person means that no, it's actually penetration, it's sex, it's full on sex. I'm like, great. But do you see where the crosswires are? If we don't ask those questions, we assume. And once
I
we
was
assume, we're already in the wrong.
I can't remember the interview I was watching, but I remember it was Lena Waite, and I believe the young lady, the podcast host, I think her name was Shannon. I have to look it up. And they were talking about the difference between intimacy and actually doing the act. And she said a lot of
Yeah.
people get that confused, were you intimate? Well, yes, we were intimate, but the first thing they think is you actually had sex.
Physical intimacy. Yeah. Erotic
Physical.
intimacy. Right.
And
But
intimacy
then
could
there's
just
also emotional intimacy.
Yes, yes, absolutely. A conversation about intimacy, and just
Hmm.
hanging out with each other. Women hang out with each other all the time. Men hang out with each other all the time. I mean, I don't know what they talk about or if they ever have intimate conversations about intimacy, but I know women do. And I know women are
Hmm.
more open to share. Um, and
Completely.
again, it goes back to their upbringing too. And I think it's a wonderful thing. I think we should all be free like that. We should all, I mean, we're adults, you know. Do we
Yes.
have
Well, my
to
four Muslim kids had to laugh when I used to run the London branch of of a sacred sexuality cult, not cult, but group in London. So I used to walk around with a red T-shirt saying "orgasm expert" and the pussy knows. And my kids are Muslim, so the four of them were like, the boys are like, "Mommy." Already, my friends think you're a yummy mommy, but this now is just a
love
little bit too far.
yummy.
You have to talk about this. I'm like, okay.
It's something liberating about that and hearing other women talk about it because it's funny. We laugh about it, of course, because we are, it's like you can't have the cat without the kittens and all of those other sayings. But hey, somebody has to talk about it, right? And if you're going
Or
to unpack
even
anything, why not unpack that in the conversation? Because that's a part of trauma for some people. That's a part of owning
completely.
their agency, and also that brings me to my next question. So if you could go back to the night before your biggest turning point, Juliet, what would you tell yourself?
Hmm. Oh, I'm trying to think which turning point.
Just pick one, the biggest one.
I think probably one of my biggest ones is helping my sister pass over, being there for her. And
Wow.
that gave me, I mean, so much. I probably would tell myself
What
to be
exactly
even
did it
more
give you?
present.
What exactly did you
Um,
get from that? Can you unpack
It
that
was
for me?
being really present. It was being really present with her. I remembered my near death experience. So I shared that with her, what it felt like to go through the dark tunnel and then go up to the light. So of the day that she was passing, she's like, "Hey, Jules, can I go to the light?" And I was massaging her feet and
Oh,
yeah, and I said, yes. And to really trust my intuition, because at one point I went to the kitchen to put some flowers in a vase, and I knew to do that because she wouldn't have died if I had sat right next to her and her husband and her kids either. So we were all in the kitchen for about, I don't know, 5 minutes. And he said, "Oh, I'm going to go and move the wheelchair because their son is in a wheelchair. I'm going to get it fixed because whatever. Big story."
right.
Um, and I was like, "Well, wait a minute." I said, I think she's passed. And I felt it.
Oh,
So I think for me, really, the thing is to trust my intuition even more. I knew that she would pass that morning.
that's interesting. I had a similar
Yeah.
situation with my best friend who passed away in 2019. And yeah, and a friend before that, maybe 17 years before him, which was a trio, me, my two buddies. Um, it was like he waited for me to arrive while my other best
Mm-hmm.
friend was there. And once I arrived and was able to whisper in his ear, he let go. And then 17 years later, my
Same
second
thing.
best friend. Well,
There
yeah,
you go.
I didn't expect that, and that was really hard. That was a part of my trauma, just
Mm-hmm. Of course.
sitting with that grief and trying to find my way back to happiness with that. And then another best friend. Um,
Yeah.
in one year, I lost two best friends, and 17 years before that, I lost the the first best friend. So those three confidants were erased from my
Mm-hmm.
life in
Right.
2019. The two, and I didn't
So
have
what's
that.
one thing that
Uh,
you would tell yourself now if you have an intuition?
you know what, Juliet? I didn't have the same bravery as you to
Mm-hmm.
share with him. And that is the one guilt I do have, and I carry a lot with me. But now I'm better with it because now when I see him, I smile. When I think about him, I laugh. And we're together spiritually. He's closer to me than he's ever been in the physical realm. And but I do often think that I wish I would have had that opportunity that you have to share. I did, but I was too afraid, and
Mm-hmm.
I didn't believe it was happening. I just knew he was
Completely.
supposed to be with me. And
Yeah.
yeah, I went to the bathroom, came back, crossed the threshold, and he gave me a look, and it was like, okay, goodbye. I'm
Yeah.
going. I stayed with him 5 days straight, but I never had that conversation. And that is one thing I do, have little regret about. But listening to you, I understand that so well. It resonates with me and it's in my heart because having that opportunity is so freeing also for you. And
Completely.
I didn't take the
So I
opportunity because I was too afraid.
I
Yeah.
completely hear you, but I think what I say to my kids, my ex-partner, my ex-husband, my current partner, my clients, it's like
Mm,
if you're thinking of someone, they come into your consciousness for a reason. Reach out. You never know.
right.
Yeah, reach out, leave them a voice note, send them a text, call them, whatever. Just you never know why they're coming into your consciousness, but there's something that's pulling it. So
Yeah.
respond. If you can respond to it.
I did after several months, I created a podcast called, From Execution to Excellence. That was the one prior to this.
Mm,
And that was all about finding my voice. That's how I found my voice through losing him. And the second part
beautiful.
of that, yeah, was he executed everything in his life to get to excellence. And then he passed away, which was unfortunate for him. So that gave me life to give to other people that have
What a
executed
gift.
everything. That was a beautiful thing. So I also still admire him and what he did in his life. And he had a full life because we spent it together most of the time. So
Isn't
not
that beautiful? But
yeah,
this interaction and your grief created something so beautiful for other people to learn from. And this is
Yeah.
where I see what happened to me, my rape that I buried for years, that all of a sudden I remember it and my body started shaking. And now that is
Wow.
where I help others with. I'm like, wow, isn't that just incredible? That just
Yes.
something that was terrifying and horrendous, and I kept buried for over 20 years. Now, this is my gift that I bring to others.
And I think that's so important to share those gifts, between the two of
Mhm.
us and all the other women that I interview on Unpack Your Life, because it helps the next woman, get through things.
Completely.
And I'm all about helping the next woman get through whatever. And it's just important that we give back all those um, gems that we, receive along the way and just push it
Absolutely.
forward, you know.
Yeah.
I just think it's a wonderful thing. And thank you for sharing that because it brought me back to exactly what I just shared with you. Um, and it makes me feel good, but
Hmm.
I totally get it. So I have one last question for you. Do you have a ritual that you want to share with the audience, you know, or practice, as a
It's
reminder?
really interesting. It used to always be the same thing. And these days, I'm not so stuck on it. I do my touch base because,
Okay.
it's like I get triggered too. And for me, it's about,
Well, we all get
it,
triggered.
we all get triggered, right? It's like, listen, I'm definitely
Coaches
not a,
need coaches. Okay. I listen. Oprah said she has three coaches. So
isn't it
listen,
great? We all need to have them.
absolutely, we go through things too. We're human. It happens to us. Things get triggered. Coaches need coaches to coach them through
Hmm.
whatever. I mean, that's just a part of life. And I think being a pool of women that have transcended into liberating themselves and really getting in touch with who they are, their truest self, through touch base, through understanding, and peeling the layers back, we all win.
Completely.
Right.
So I think for me, it's also where life can be so fast. And say that you are in a coaching program or you're in a job and you're supposed to get things done, and it really doesn't feel good in your body. Your body, you're just, I use my body as my compass. Is it a
Absolutely.
yes or is it a no? And sometimes, like, yeah, you've got homework to do, and you're in this group, and I'm like, it's not aligned. It's not for me now. And then I actually sit with that and I really consciously make that decision. And sometimes I'll tell my coach, I'm like, I especially didn't do the homework because that's a very masculine structure. I'm coming away from that. I don't want to do three things in a week
Right.
just because you tell me when it doesn't feel aligned with me. And she's always like, I love it. You're the rebel, but you're actually so authentically you because it's not like you don't do the work. I'm like, yes, I do very consciously do the work. But if I had done the homework the way that you wanted it, those
Right.
little nuggets that I just got wouldn't have dropped in. It was
Absolutely.
like on the 31st of December, all of a sudden I spent the whole day in bed writing. A whole book of poems came through me. I spent the whole next month editing it and actually publishing it, but it was just like crazy. My kids and my partner came in at 8 p.m. They're like, "Hey, are we doing a dinner? Are we going to do any New Year's celebrations?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, yeah. Let me get up," and I was still writing. But it's like to actually create that space, put down the phone, put down all your computers, and spend a few days, a few minutes a day with yourself. So for me, that's a touch base thing. It's really breath, noticing my body, going outside, sticking my feet in the grass. What kind of touch can I actually, physical touch can I do with my
Right.
body? And
Love
just
it.
to recognize, like, my thoughts are my thoughts. And they're often
That's
not
right.
true. They're the
Yeah.
fear mongering
Very
thoughts.
reactionary, right? Your
Yeah.
thoughts, immediately you will react. Your body, you can sit with it for a few
Hmm.
minutes. Let me feel this energy. Maybe this is not right. From here up, that could be a problem, because you always have two people, one on each shoulder in your ear, and you're trying to figure out who's who. So I think to take account what's from here down is the best way to handle that. Because, like you said,
Right. To
all of
actually
us,
notice what's going on in your body. Yeah.
yeah,
And to become curious. I'm like, oh, this is interesting. Not to beat
mhm,
ourselves up. It's like, oh, I'm doing that thing again. I said I was going to do that and then I didn't do it. It's like, what's there? It's like, oh, is that why am I resisting that? And sometimes it's just like you don't even need to know why, but just like, oh, I said I'd clean out my closet and I didn't
right.
do it. Like, okay, now it's 3 weeks later and I still haven't done it. Let's actually then plan it in the calendar and put in an hour that I'm going to do the thing that I said I was going to do.
I think, Juliet, the true authenticity is in your gut. That's it.
Yes.
You know, that's the integrity that you feel. That's the all the emotions that come along with what you're hearing, all that transmits into the
Hmm.
body. And once it's left this part, or if it hits this part down first, listen to it. That's your gut. Your gut will never lead you wrong because it's always that thing pulling inside of you. It doesn't go away.
Mhm.
That's the thing you don't want to listen
Of
to. That's
course.
comfortableness, right? I know.
But it's your true. I mean, and it's also like what we put our attention on, obviously, that grows. We know the
Absolutely.
whole energy bit, right? So if we're constantly like thinking, it's like, oh my God, just look at this little chubby thighs and then this and that, that
Yeah.
is what you're going to attract more. And if you can start looking in the mirror and just going, man, I freaking love my cheekbones
Oh my God,
or
I love
my
myself.
lashes or whatever. You just kind of like start loving up on yourself.
Yes,
And
yes.
sometimes it is actually like, oh, look at that little turkey neck. Or like,
Ah,
okay,
I got a little bit of
that's
that
kind of
too.
cool.
I wake up and I go, oh my God, I love myself. I love myself today because it's just that kind of day. And that's
And
a
it's not
beautiful thing.
easy for a lot of people to do. But
No,
I
it's
would
not.
say a beautiful mirror exercises are really beautiful. If you can just look in your eyes and count to 10 and just stare at yourself without having any negative thoughts come in, but
Right.
just a beautiful thing is maybe just looking at your reflection and saying, oh, I see that one eyebrow is a little bit higher than the other,
It
and a
truly
little
proves.
brown spot on my thing, and just really value neutral. And you can just describe your face like that without putting anything loving, without putting anything bad in it. But it's like, oh,
Right.
that's really interesting. Just this whole value neutral noticing of who I am
I
or
think
what my
age
face
is
looks
like that.
like.
You know, when you're
Right?
aging, I think age is a beautiful thing,
Oh, it's
especially if
gorgeous.
you're along with that. You look in the mirror and, my God, I still see you. I still see that 18-year-old you, but you are much better. You are so much better, girl. I don't know. I don't want to go back to her. I liked her, but this person is just what I'm looking for. And I think that's a beauty. And that's something I'm rediscovering because I'm fast forward 20 years later, you're like, wow, okay, I see it and I like it. you know?
Yeah.
And a lot of people can't do that. It depends on you. But it's
Last
a
thing for me at night, I brush my teeth. I look in the mirror for about a minute and actually just wonder at my skin and at my
yeah, and
hands.
from
And I go
from
to
this,
bed
you have
and I
beautiful
say some
skin. It's glowing,
gratitude.
like you're
So,
glowing through the camera,
thank you. And
and
so,
that's
but
a
the last thing at night is like I bask in gratitude for myself,
oh
for my day. I get into bed, I get all cozy, and I'm like super happy that my
yes,
sheets are ironed and that it all smells
mhm,
delicious, and I can kiss my partner goodnight. And I have these silk pillowcases. I'm like, man, life is good.
and give yourself grace, right?
Yeah.
Oh, with that being said, Julia, it's been lovely speaking with you. It's just like a flow. This conversation flowed, and I love that. Listen, tell everybody where they can find you, how they can get in touch with you. And I think they will be pleasantly surprised to hear some of the things you have to say. And also go to that website. Then you can feel sensuous like I did.
So yes, my website, my brand is called Feel Fully You. So feelfullyu.com. I'm Juliet Karaman on Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok. My podcast is called The Scrumptious Woman,
Oh, we didn't
just
even get
because I
into
got
that. I
into
love it. Yes,
because
yes.
I got into Facebook and Instagram, Jill, because I talked about sensuality too much. So I call it scrumptiousness. So there's a whole
Get
bunch of
into this
things
one.
there. There's a touch meter. There are loads of free resources that really can get you back in touch with yourself, with your skin, with the way that life touches you.
Oh, we like that. Especially in the summertime, right? The light, it looks lovely. So, guys, I am so glad you decided to join us again. And I know, once you guys hear this podcast, it's going to be not only funny, but somewhat of a turn on and hearing intimate things that we've kind of released inside this podcast, which is the first time I've done this. But I definitely wanted to do it with Juliet because after I went to her website, I was just like, okay, we need to talk about this. Unfortunately, we didn't get the chance to talk about, the scrumptiousness of it. And definitely you won't be put into Facebook jail here. Please, guys, you know where to find us on all of the podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple, and so forth. And I would love for you to go there and subscribe to Unpack Your Life. We got so many good interviews coming your way. Please stay with us. And hey, give me a like. I'd love to see you again. Juliet, it was so lovely being here with you, and we'll talk to you very soon.
Thank you, darling.
Absolutely.